What a great way to end such a wonderful night. Very special ladies indeed. I think they all deserve our very grateful thanks for all the dedication and work they put in. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to start tonight with an apology that I'm afraid you've got me just to wrap up. Guy Martin was coming, but unfortunately I think he's booked for next year instead. He'll be stepping in instead of me. But to start tonight, I want to thank a few people. And we have to start with Trudy. Hasn't she done a fantastic job? Now, most people coming here tonight will have a fantastic night. We'll talk about it tomorrow, and then we'll just look forward to it happening again next year. But unless you actually get involved with Trudy, you don't fully appreciate the huge amount of work that she puts in during that year to make sure that the following event is such a success. The amount of organising, cajoling, threatening, beating up, all characteristics she's very, very good at, and what has helped to deliver this event now for 10 years. And 10 years is a heck of a long time to put something like this on. So I think she really does need a very, very special thank you and award for doing this tonight. I'd also like to thank her for giving a special mention to the emergency services tonight, which was not on the agenda, but I appreciate the recognition anyway. I have to start too by thanking the sponsors tonight. Without the sponsors, this event could not go ahead. I don't want to go through every one, but I particularly want to thank, obviously, Isle of Man newspapers and the support they've given through Trudy, and of course RBSI, who have been stalwarts in supporting this event for many, many years. I'd like to add my congratulations to Bill Shimmons on his 50th, and I hope he enjoys his evening, and of course the Isle of Man Bank on its 150th. Unfortunately, the Isle of Man Bank's 150 years old this year, but there is another 150th anniversary this year, which has just pipped the Isle of Man Bank, and that is since Ramsey was awarded the status of town. So we're just about 3 months ahead of the Isle of Man Bank. And just to pick out one of the sponsors, again, as another celebration, and I think deserve a round of thanks, for PokerStar's 10th anniversary this year. I had the great privilege of meeting PokerStars when they first came to the Isle of Man, when I first set up the e-gaming industry. And they have been fantastic supporters of the Isle of Man ever since. They're great ambassadors. We've stood shoulder to shoulder against attacks from off Ireland all around the world, but we stand here together tonight, one of the most successful companies on the Isle of Man, and one that's committed totally to the Isle of Man community. So thank you, PokerStars. I'd also, of course, like to say thank you to the judges, and without your hard work, which I know goes in for several weeks prior to this event could not go ahead. So thank you for the time you've given up and for the excellent decisions you've made tonight. And in relation to RBSI, I would just like to thank most sincerely the visitors that RBSI have brought to the Isle of Man from our sister country in Jersey. Welcome to the Isle of Man. We're delighted to see you. At last now you'll get the chance to see what a successful offshore jurisdiction looks like. And as Stephen said to you all earlier, the Isle of Man really does know how to party. It also knows how to run an economy. So there's a lot you can learn from it. But it's a fantastic night tonight. Congratulations to everyone that took part in this event. The winners have done fantastically well, but everyone who's nominated has had a major part to play in our community. Thank you, everybody, for doing that. You heard at the start that this award, it's not actually the freedom to flush, although after this week it might feel like it. This is the freedom to flourish, and many of you may have forgotten what this is all about. This was started by the Isle of Man government over 10 years ago, I think, when we tried to identify what was the essence of the Isle of Man. what is the Isle of Man really all about? Not an economy, not all the various things, not the TT, not this, not that. What is the core essence of the Isle of Man? What makes the Isle of Man click? And we did a public consultation on this, and the overwhelming response we got, which enabled us to develop this slogan, was the Isle of Man gives you freedom to flourish. Now, it might not feel like that at times, and we've got hard times at the moment. I appreciate some of the difficulties we're causing. But underneath it all, the Isle of Man is a fantastic community, it's a fantastic place to live, and it's a fantastic quality of life. One of the gems of God's earth, and thank you all for making it that way. So the Awards for Excellence evening is an opportunity for the Isle of Man to put all the negativity behind it, to forget about the naysayers, the Manx crabs, everything else we've heard about tonight, and celebrate all that's good about the Isle of Man. And there's a lot to celebrate. We've heard a lot of good news stories so far, but I would just ask as well, alongside the celebration and the party, just to take a little time out for reflection. We should celebrate our economic success, which has helped promote the high quality of life that we enjoy on the Isle of Man. And as Trudy said earlier on, since this Awards for Excellence evening was started 10 years ago, the Isle of Man has suffered a loss of over a third of its income, £200 million a year through the VAT changes. The banking crisis and the worst world recession for 100 years could have brought the economy to its knees. But it didn't. And the Isle of Man is one of the few countries in the world that has gone through this last decade without going into recession. That is a fantastic achievement. And sometimes we underestimate just how successful the Isle of Man has actually been. Last year, the economy grew by 4.5% net, the fastest growing economy in Europe. Last year gave the Isle of Man its 31st year of unbroken economic growth. There's no other country in the world that can have the record that the Isle of Man has got. Unemployment has been below 2% now for over 10 years. These are fantastic records, records we should be proud of. This is what you, every single one of you, has contributed to and helped to achieve alongside the government and our wider business community. So well done, everyone, on what you've done. But apart from the efforts that you guys have all put in, how have we achieved this? While other countries have focused solely on financial services, thinking that they would save the day and turn their economies around, the Isle of Man has actively promoted diversification. And today the Isle of Man can boast 21 separate economic sectors and an economy which reaches to every corner of the world, a truly international economy. That has been the bedrock that's enabled the economy to grow the way it has. And also, this is what should give us pause for thought. Because with economic diversity, we have also developed social diversity. Today, our tiny island nation of 85,000 people can boast over 70 different nationalities living here amongst us, integrating into the Manx community, contributing to our way of life, contributing to our economy, contributing to everything we hold dear here. All these people with different cultures, different languages, different religion, all integrated into our caring community, united by a shared humanity without oppression or intimidation, and pursuing their dreams in peace and harmony in our beautiful country. We have French, we have Russians, we have Nigerians, Kenyans, and many from the Middle East, all of whose countries have suffered terribly in recent years. We welcome you all to the Isle of Man. We reach out, we embrace you with hands of friendship and love, and we hope we continue to enjoy your presence here on the Isle of Man. So while we celebrate our success in business, in sport and the arts, and we've seen a great example of it tonight, what finer ambassador could we have for the Isle of Man than this fine young man here tonight, Simon, who gave us such an entertaining event. This is the true lifeblood of our community, which binds us all together. This is the underlying strength of our community and the contributions of all the unsung heroes of all our nationalities. Through your hard work, innovation, pursuit of excellence and optimism, we have developed a dynamic economy, a rich heritage and a diverse culture. Now, most of all, we have developed a tolerant, inclusive and caring society, of which as Chief Minister I am immensely proud to have been part of that journey we've been on. As an island, the Isle of Man is often threatened by stormy seas, but as a community, our little nation will always bind together and face the future with confidence and hope and love. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed tonight. We have seen the best of the Isle of Man. It is time really to put all the negative thoughts aside, enjoy the rest of the evening and enjoy the future we are going to have together on the island. Thank you for all your support and help. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and Plan.com. It now comes to the part of the evening where we look at our lifetime achievement, the lifetime achievement in 2015. This is going to a man who created on the Isle of Man the first hotel with ensuite rooms. He introduced freight containerisation to the Isle of Man. He built the first self-service petrol station, in fact, and sold 1 million gallons a year very quickly. I can't convert that to litres for everyone under 30, I'm sorry. I don't think you have any idea yet, but the next will give you a clue. He introduced the ro-ro service to the island. This man was better known for his achievements very, very quickly on two wheels. This evening, we are going to celebrate the life of Jeff Duke, OBE.
Well, I can't think of a better place to start the story of my father's long relationship with both the TT and, of course, the Isle of Man. In 1948, he came here as its very first race, a complete novice, never raced in anything before on the road, and he rode his Norton, his private Norton, and was leading the race, in fact, when it broke down. But that was the beginning of a career which really was always had the TT at its heart, and of course a life which had a very, very strong association with the Isle of Man. And I can't think of anybody better to maybe capture some of that fame than a few words from a lifetime friend of Dad's, Murray Walker.
Hello everybody. Well, it goes without saying that I'm really sorry I can't be with you, because Jeff meant a great deal to me. I first met him when he was at Norton. Not everybody realises that Jeff, when he came out of the army as a sergeant, and he had been with the White Helmets, their display team, joined Norton as a trials rider. But then 1949 was that magical year when this fresh-faced, wavy-haired young man was a breath of fresh air in motorcycle racing in general, and the TT in the Isle of Man in particular, because he won the Clubman's TT, he won the Senior Manx Grand Prix, and Norton realised what a wonderful property they'd got. And there was that amazing year in 1950. Remember, it wasn't very long then since the war, and things were still pretty rough. But young Jeff Duke appears on this featherbed Norton and literally blows them all away, winning the senior TT, and he went on, as you all know, to win many more, and subsequently to ride for Gilera and win world championship after world championship.
Sadly, I was too young to enjoy seeing Dad race the TT, but in later years, of course, I've been able to study it on film, and the records really themselves obviously illustrate just how he became a global superstar, as well as somebody who brought 50, 60,000 crowds to the Isle of Man. And what really strikes me was the first race after the war, when Nortons, with the single-cylinder Nortons, 1952, go to Germany for the first race after the war. BMW were there, determined to win, put the Brits back in their place. The Nortons were really down on power. There was 5 Norton riders, and Dad managed to win there. The crowd was 420,000 people. It's the largest crowd ever on one day at a motorcycle race meeting, or any form of motor race meeting. That just gives you some idea of how big a pull, how big a name he was in his heyday.
He was a wonderful ambassador for the Isle of Man, absolutely. Wherever we went, and people loved him. And off the island, wherever we travelled to, oh boy, unbelievable, unbelievable.
Yes, he fell in love with the Isle of Man, I think, from when he first sort of came to it with his parents as a child, but particularly once he dived into the racing here. I recall, though, somebody who was not only a great superstar, but what I recall as I grew up was that he was a great innovator. And that was seen in his racing career when he invented the one-piece leathers. And that, of course, probably one of his most famous achievements in many ways in the global scheme of things, that every motorcyclist wears one-piece leathers. And fame almost came to him by accident almost, just because he was very good at what he did. He did what he did for the love of the sport. 1953 OBE was obviously a great honour for him. He was very proud of that. And I think the letter from Winston Churchill, had pride of place, sadly lost in a fire, but we do have a copy of it, but saying he'd got his award. But the original letter unfortunately went. But he was a great patriot.
Because the way he's so unassuming, a gentleman, always, at every turn, always, it just came naturally to him. And generous, he would do anything for anyone. He was just full of love, really.
All the time he was on the island, he was concerned that, having seen the TT lose its World Championship status in 1976, he was very concerned they would lose the lot, and obviously aware of the media pressure about dangers. So he continually had plans for new circuits, from in the south of the island to Derby was looked at briefly, but it's too small. Andreas was the big one, and had a great plan there. It was 7 years, and had quite a good support, sort of, shall we say, basics when you come to run that. That could have worked extremely well, but the landowners changed their mind after 7 years, so they just didn't want to do it. So he was always concerned that the Isle of Man would lose its race altogether if public international pressure for dangerous racing grew too much. But so that was his main concern, not to finish the TT off by any means, but he'd be delighted to see it doing so well as it is now. Standing here on Douglas Head reminds me of Dad's most momentous business venture, the 1978 Manx Line investment. Ron Agency had been going a few years, very successful in containerised freight, and inevitably Father and some of his other directors wanted to go that step further, introduce a proper ro-ro ship, change freight to the Isle of Man forever, and indeed give a much better deal to passengers. And it was a big change. It was largely successful commercially, never any problem finding customers. But sadly, it was ruined by a massive storm where the harbour installation was destroyed in '79.
Oh, wonderful idea. Geoffrey was a wonderful ideas man, but it was so many things happened, and it not only broke him financially, it was in Geoffrey as well. That was an awful time to live through. It really was. And we had to pick ourselves up again, which was a very difficult thing to do. It really, really and truly. Because, well, things didn't go with us. So many things happened. And wasn't meant to be.
So, obviously the Manx Line thing was a phenomenal. He staked everything on Manx Line. to introduce roll-on, roll-off ferries to the island. And he had a great passion for the island. I loved the place to bits, and just wanted things to happen here and to work here.
And I used to say to him, I don't know how you've managed to adjust from being, the king, so to speak, and then back down to ordinary life, But it never was ordinary life. We did so many things, and it was always exciting. It was awful, his illness. But he never complained, never, ever. When he lost his sight, I think that was the worst thing for him, because he couldn't drive anymore. And that was a terrible, terrible thing for Geoffrey. He lost his sight completely in one eye, and then he had the other, and that gradually deteriorated, so he could no longer drive, and that was the joy. Yeah, but we shared a wonderful life for over 40 years, and where one went, the other went. What could I ask for?
Thought it would be quite appropriate for him to do a lap and to see if we can get him up near the 100 down to Brandish, which we nearly did, about 90 mile an hour, I think. It was nice to see so many people out around the island, thousands. The quiet man from Lancashire, from a baker's son, confectioner's son. Originally, his father was from Newcastle. I don't know. It was meant to be, I think. He was a grammar school boy. He was quite a good engineer and technician. He could have done lots of things. He was certainly not short of things he could have done with his life, but he had a massive passion for motorcycle racing, which overtook him really, and he just went with it, and just knew in his bones that's what he wanted to do. Most national newspapers ran obituaries for him. He was, he was like the David Beckham of his day in the 50s, but that's a heck of a long time ago, 60 years on. But yes, it was nice to see him acknowledged in media internationally, as well as in the national newspapers in the UK, and of course on the island.
I remember Jeff as friendly, cheerful, good-hearted, certainly one of the greatest racing motorcyclists of all time.
Because he's still best known as a motorcycle racer, but to the Isle of Man, I think it's a lot more than that.
And he always said as well, his life was a wonderful life. He said he felt blessed to have had such a wonderful life. So he couldn't really ask for more.
It's a bit of a cliche, but he really is sadly missed, and by me in particular.
I feel blessed. I feel blessed to have met Geoffrey, my soulmate. I honestly do. And I keep saying to him, hang on for me, I'll be there soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the stage Peter and his brother Michael and Daisy to receive this year's Lifetime Achievement Award, celebrating the life of Jeff Duke, OBE.
Thank you. She threatened me with a few words. Well, wow. I hope he's listening up there somewhere. Thank you, and thank you especially to Isle of Man Bank and the other sponsors of this award, and for acknowledging my father's many lifetime achievements. He had a life of two halves, a motorcycling superstar, and in later years, obviously here on the Isle of Man. And in his book, In Pursuit of Perfection, his motorcycling career was summed up in pursuit of perfection, and he got there. So a few years later, at a time when the Isle of Man was perhaps not as prosperous as it is now, he found other pursuits, other challenges. And he was relentless. Ideas, every year, ideas, innovations, new business things. And he did it because it was a challenge, I think. He was a Lancastrian born, but Manx at heart. And I think out of all his achievements, he would be very pleased today to see all you here today and to see the Isle of Man in such a great shape compared to what it was perhaps not too long ago, a few decades. So I think he would be very proud and congratulate everybody on their wonderful achievements. And if I may add, if I could speak for him almost, he would say, don't be afraid of risk, work hard and don't give up, because that's what it was about. Thank you.
We have very nearly caught up on time. We're now at the time for our finale, so those glow sticks and those Manx flags, let's just show everyone around the world who's watching us how proud we are of our country. And now, please enjoy our finale. And we have here 35 talented individual singers who have come together to entertain you this evening. Thank you.
I've heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this, the fourth, the fifth, the minor chord, the major lift, the baffled king, the chords in hallelujah.
You say I took the name in vain, though I don't even know your name. Well, if I did, then really, what's it to you? There's a blaze of light in every word. It doesn't matter what you've heard. The holy or the broken, hallelujah. I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I told the truth, I didn't mean to fool you. And even though it's always wrong, I stand before the Lord and song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a quick reminder that you're all welcome to attend the PokerStars after show party, taking place right now in the Promenade Suite.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you prepare to leave, the Manx Blind Welfare Society, which worked with Jeff Duke, is collecting money for its services to people throughout the island, and we'd be grateful if you were generous to them. Meanwhile, I hope you enjoyed tonight as much as I have. Thank you very much. Good night. Ibai. Guramayu.